So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you want to introduce yourself to like the audience and say a bit about who you are, what's your name, and what you do.
Of course. So I'm Ludwig. I'm the founder or owner of Scientifically Faster on primarily Instagram. Do a bit of YouTube too. I'm from Stockholm, Sweden. I graduated high school almost exactly a year ago, which is crazy. The time has passed so freaking fast. But yeah, after graduation, I went to United States, signed with a Division 1 college there. The plan was to be there for a year. To get your bachelor's degree, you need to be there for 4 years. But my plan was just to go there, develop as a person, as a footballer, as the student as well. And I felt after a semester that I had, accomplished all of those goals and purposes. So I thought it was fine with only one semester. So I moved back home, moved down to more of a southern part of Sweden to now play football with the team here. And then I'm also going to start some studies for the fall too. And yeah, so I'm a footballer that's obsessed with speed. So that's why I created my account, which is all about teaching athletes how to get faster, or how I got faster, and the methods that worked for me. So that's pretty much who I am and what I do.
Awesome,
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So what got you into like being obsessed with like helping people run fast and making the account?
So I started to think, yeah, that like I've spent so many years on like both like reading articles, like looking on YouTube videos, but primarily like actually training it myself. And I thought that I spent all of these years and I was what I would say like an expert within the field. So I thought it was just like, why wouldn't I share what I've learned over these years and help athletes save all of the time that I had to spend? And it's also my main like strength as a footballer, my speed. So I thought it could be reasonable to share the knowledge that took me years to learn and to save athletes time essentially. So that was what got me into it in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what position do you play?
I play as a wing back.
Okay.
Uh, so on the wing, obviously crucial with speed there. Yeah. Have any of y'all played football?
I'm
I used to
terrible.
play football.
I'm so bad.
You
It's
are?
the one. It's one of the sports that I just like as in school, I'd just be so bad, and
Really?
then I'm fast, right? But like I just got no touch. I've got no control with the ball.
Are you from UK too?
Yeah, yeah.
You cannot play football, bro? You gotta be able to play football from UK.
I know. You'd think, but I'm bad, man.
So are both of y'all running track?
Yeah.
That's how you know each other?
We
Yeah.
we just like from we kind of do a similar thing on social media, and then we just reached out to each other
Yeah.
and just thought, why not start our own kind of journey together as well,
Yeah.
help each other. So
Yeah, yeah. For
yeah,
sure. For sure. Where in UK are y'all based? Perhaps
um,
different cities.
yeah, yeah, I'm from London.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm from like Bristol, so it's kind of like more near like Wales, a bit above London.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are you y'all competing or just like running for like fun?
Oh no, yeah, we compete. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think Abraham's in third year under 20, and then I compete in the under 23 category. So yeah, we do compete. Um, hoping to see him at the nationals in July, I think it is. Is
Yeah.
it?
That would
Yeah.
be dope.
all right,
Yeah.
our nationals together.
Yeah. 'Cause normally the under 20 and under 23s. I think the under 23 trials for the Europeans is at the Welsh champs, but they still have like England champs.
Right. Okay.
Yes, it's a bit complicated, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Are
yeah.
you both running both 100 and 200 meters?
Uh, I used to do the 100 meters, but recently changed to the 200 and the 400.
Okay.
Just yeah, yeah. Just because like I feel like my best part of the race has always been the end part,
Yeah, yeah,
and I feel um like with the 100 meters I've put so much work in, but I've only seen like marginal
yeah,
gains. But then since focus on the 400 and especially the 200, like only recently, I've made a lot of progress. So I think I have more potential, let's say, in the 400 compared to the 100. So
yeah,
yeah, this is the first season like proper training for
yeah.
it. I haven't ran 400 yet, but yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot more work than just like sprinting and doing 100-meter training for sure.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think it would be some. I would, to be honest, have best chances to make it in. I would say 400. Like I haven't tried any of like them properly.
Mm.
Uh, Obviously, I sprint a lot, but it's always like on the pitch. I've never like actual done a like 100-meter race or so. But I think 400 meters, perhaps 200 meters would be like my optimal distances. But it's like, but it feels based on the videos I've seen on you, Eddie. Like, so you say you're good in 400 meters too. Aren't the 400 meters? Isn't that a distance where they start to become a little bit kind of skinnier? We obviously
Yeah.
see they get skinnier for how longer it takes. It feels like you would be like a proper 200-meter runner based on your like body and the way I've seen you sprint. But you're saying you like 400 meters too?
Yeah, that's something I've definitely been like considering at the moment. Like, because I'm definitely like 400-meter like specialist, but because since I've like transitioned and I have got a bit slimmer, but yeah, you do tend to be a bit more slimmer. And recently with my training, I've done a lot of like gym work and I get bulky quite easily. So yeah, that's definitely something I need to like slim down on. But when I was like a kid, before I did like gym training, I was always been quite skinny anyway. I think since just doing the gym work, I've put on a bit of size. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I got you. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
but
And
yeah,
Abraham, distances do you
Yeah,
run?
I'm 100 meters, and I'm actually mainly a long jumper, so I jump into sand. Um, um, yeah, I mean, I run. My fastest 100 meters, which I'm not proud of at all, because I think I can run a lot faster, is 11:3. Um,
Good.
yeah, but I'm hoping to run under 11 seconds this year.
Yeah,
Um, I don't race much, so I don't think that's very representative of where I am. But um, my goal this year has been speed, and next year it's going to be even more speed. So yeah, I'm just here to learn myself about speed and educate people from. I mean, we've invited. I don't know if you've seen our lives, but we've invited Jamal Marcus, who's a GB sprinter. We've got a couple more guests coming in that are like really experienced
yeah,
um, coaches, and yeah, I think I'm learning like so much just from like these lives,
yeah,
and I just feel like even when I'm going back to training, having spoken to like people like yourself, and I think about it in a different way, and I improve. So
yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
100%, 100%. I understand. Yeah,
but yeah, that's background.
nice.
so I have a question before we, because I think there's a few people in the chat here ask questions, but I have a question just about like training, because obviously you train like speed for football. What's like
Mhm.
the biggest difference, like, because I'm assuming you have your own like coaching community.
Yeah.
Do you like coach like track athletes to improve speed, or is it just like footballers as well?
No, it's all athletes with the goal of becoming faster. Like I believe that the absolute 95% of the training you do, there shouldn't be any like too much of like sport specific training. It's I don't believe there's such a thing that's it's called sport specific. perhaps 95% is what can work for most athletes, and then you have the extra 5% that could be added that is a bit more perhaps sport specific, even though I don't really like to use that term. So like the training I use helped me get faster and stronger, jump higher and further, which is obviously skills that can be used in all sports. So in terms of like differences in like how you train, I wouldn't say there are many.
Yeah.
In terms of how I coach, I learn a lot from track athletes because I believe you are one of the best athletes with the best athleticism. Like if you look at the sprinters, like they are fast, they can jump extremely far, extremely high, they are strong. So if you would put a sprinter on a football field, if we just exclude all the like skills aspects of it, he would dominate physically. So if we
Mm.
can kind of a sprinter's physique and make that, add the skills on the ball and so on, well, that will become a dangerous player. So I've learned a lot from looking at these other sports and the way they train and kind of implement that into football. Because football is, I normally say that it's probably the easiest sport to be a top 1% athlete in, because there are so many. I mostly only see this in football. There are so many misconceptions, and people don't really know how to train to become faster, stronger, and improve their athleticism as a footballer. There are still people, a lot of players, thinking that gym work is bad and everything you have to do is doing, fast feet exercises and fascia training. Um, but there's so much more to it. So, um, as I said, I believe that football is the easiest sport to be um, physically dominant and to become a top 1% athlete there. Because I don't have bad genetics, absolutely not. I have good, but probably not great. But still, every time I step out onto the field, I am one of the best athletes there in terms of strength, explosiveness, and power. And that's just from um, like years of training in a proper way. So that's kind of my take on that question.
Interesting. That's going to lead me on to my next question. How do you like integrate all the speed, explosiveness, and also the football train without getting too tired for, like the football train itself?
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky balance that all players relate to in balancing everything from individual training, team trainings, but also all the different aspects within the individual training. So it obviously depends if you're an off season or in season.
Mm.
I am currently in season. I play a lot of minutes. So right now, my only goal is to maintain the speed, strength, and power that I have. I wish that I could work to improve it even more. Um, and it's frustrating at points because you always, strive to improve the different aspects. But you got to understand that you train this way, you trying to get faster and stronger to increase your performance at the field. And then it wouldn't make sense to do too much training in season and let that affect your performance when you step out on the field. So in season, it's all about absolutely getting in the workouts, but it's more the maintenance mindset that I have. But as soon as off season comes around, that's a wonderful time to start doing like really ramping up the training. And then how to balance everything. I like I don't like different. I don't like viewing uh, like splits, how you structure the workout through the week. I don't like viewing that. What was that?
Oh, I was just saying it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like to view that in terms of this day I'm doing the lower body, this day I'm doing upper body. So I have the same mindset actually in both in season and off season. So what I think about in terms of how I structure my training is not, as mentioned, that today I'm doing upper body, tomorrow I'm doing lower body. I'm not thinking in those terms. I'm instead thinking this day I can have a high load, high training load, and this day I can push my body
Yeah.
hard. And then I think this day I'm gonna make sure to have a lighter day so that I can recover, so that you get the most out of every single day where you can allow your body to push yourself hard. Because I see many athletes, and I've been there myself, and it's so easy to get into that, especially because you don't have any, you cannot control how the coaches are structuring the load on the trainings. And many coaches are horrendous at structuring the load throughout the week. But that is how I think in terms of the structure of the week, to have days where I push myself really hard. And on those days, I go for the sprints, I do the lower body work. And on the days where I go perhaps a bit lighter, that can maybe be some very light injury prevention session, or upper body, or some core or mobility. So that's the way I think, on kind of a high-low split, if you could call it like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely think like just like managing the load rather than just like doing upper and lower body makes sense. Because if you just like, because you can still go hard if you do upper body, it's just going to tax like all your energy systems. So like, yeah, I definitely think it's more beneficial to work in that sort of manner.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I have the program, like for my athletes and for myself, it's not like I write, okay, on Monday we're doing high, and on Tuesday low load. It's I'm obviously writing out that I'm gonna do a lower body session, I'm gonna do sprints. It's just that the approach to the weekly training schedule is not in those terms, but the other way, as I said.
What does a um what does a speed day look like for you? So let's say it's one of your harder days
Yeah.
and you're working on speed. What does that look for you? What does that look like for you?
So on the harder days, I try to get in my lower body strength workout. But before that, I try to get in the actual speed work, or the sprints. So I normally try to do 2 sessions. The first one, as mentioned, is a sprint session. And then I either do focus on acceleration or max velocity. I would say the most beneficial thing for me to do, as I already get a lot of short sprints in training, is the max velocity. So
Okay.
that I get in, I'm aiming for around 200 meters, um, around 150 to 300 meters
Yeah.
on total distance covered per
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
And then those 150 to 300 meters, really, it's max velocity sprints. So that's also a common mistake that I see among all athletes, that they think that they do sprint work. They hear the advice that, oh, you got to sprint consistently, and that's a big mistake, that you're not doing that. But then they think, well, I do sprint consistently, so that mistake is not something that I'm doing. But they are not sprinting. They are like kind of jogging. Like, they think that the sprints on training, or like these 80% sprints, they absolutely like have their place in like building up to the higher speed sprints and so on. But you gotta get in that like actual max velocity sprints. And some athletes, they get almost 0 meters in a week on truly max velocity
Yeah.
run. But back to like the structure of the training, around that distance, around 200 meters per session, and then I do that in reps of 30 to 60 meters, and then for the strength session that I do after, I make sure to get my main lift in, which is almost always the squat, or the trap or deadlift. And then I get in some accessories as well, like cable knee drive for the hip flexor, seated calf raises for the soleus, and other good accessories that I like. So that's how I structure on a high day. Obviously, I get in the plyometrics and all this on other days, but that's an example of how a tough day could look like.
What you mentioned, top speed or like max velocity.
Hmm.
Why do you think that's so important for a football player? Because surely you're only sort of accelerating and decelerating, and then accelerating again, and then decelerating. So surely you would be, as a football player, working more on acceleration more so than max velocity. What's your sort of yeah, why do you work on max velocity? What's your reasoning behind that?
That's a good question. First of all, personally, I, as a wingback, oftentimes actually perform longer sprints on the field. So for me, that's crucial. But for other positions, that's very true that sometimes you don't do a sprint longer than, let's say, 10 meters. But obviously, like acceleration and your max velocity is like highly correlated.
True, yeah.
So, I mean, by 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 improving your acceleration, like the acceleration phase and then into the max velocity phase, it's all about just improving that basic force production capacity, which in turn will help you get faster on those 10 meters as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so we got to teach the body to get into those high velocities. Otherwise, we'll never be even close to reach those in the game.
Mm.
So, but it's primarily what I said, that it's very very correlated, that we cannot only improve acceleration by just doing shorter sprints.
Yeah, yeah.
Both
Always.
are crucial to develop, like complementary, and not that they should work as
Yeah,
separate.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good question for sure.
No, interesting. I was just, yeah, because I think a lot of people, and this is the same for athletics as well. A lot of people think of acceleration and top speed as very separate things.
Yeah, yeah,
Like acceleration is acceleration, and then that only works on your
yeah,
ability in the first 10 meters, and then after the first 10 meters, then you're the same speed as you were before. Like that's not true. I think all sorts of training, as long as it's specific, will have transference. It's almost like weight training. Like, why do you think weight training has transference? Well, although it's not as specific, it still will have, you're able to have more of a baseline strength capacity, or increase in power, increase in motor unit recruitment, increase in elasticity, things like that, that will in turn have a transference to acceleration, top speed, and jumping as well.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I guess also when you do like a max velocity sprint, you're still accelerating to get to that speed in the first place. So I guess in some sense you're still improving it, just by accelerating to that top speed in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was obviously also like um, a a question of like the definition of the different terms, because as you mentioned, Eddie, like you are accelerating into the top speed, so it's at one point you could argue that the kind of the top speed phase is just the phase where you're trying to maintain the speed you built up in the acceleration phase, or it's essentially how it works. And then you slowly decrease the speed naturally because of the friction and like loss of physics. Um, so, like, obviously, that first part is crucial, because that's where you build up your speed. And then all about the top speed is obviously about
Mm.
performing right mechanics to keep the speed as long as you can, essentially.
I actually have a follow-up question. You mentioned mechanics. Um, how much do you concentrate on sprint mechanics? Because obviously for athletics, for a sprinter, we do a lot of drills, we do a lot of mechanical work to improve and make sure that our sprinting mechanics are like, perfect, almost pinch perfect. Like, do you do that same, like, for example, do you focus on like the dry phase and like all of that kind of stuff? Or is it for you, is it more just a case of just run and just like do it?
No, it's a good question, and the short answer is yes. I definitely emphasize the sprinting mechanics, but it's also true that I don't get into like the true details in trying to perfect the sprinting technique.
Yeah.
So I had the other day, because obviously I offer that in my program too, to give feedback on people's sprinting form in my program. And he sent me a video on his form, and if he would be competing in track, I would give him feedback. But in this case, I saw that the athlete, he performed this sprint with like solid sprinting mechanics. And I don't think we need to get the sprinting mechanics to 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think popular, we just need to get it to a solid level so that it's not hindering us from making progress. Because the truth is that I believe it's very important, because you can become so powerful and strong and explosive, but if you don't run with a proper technique, like you get 5% out of your of that strength, of that explosiveness, because you don't allow your body to even get into positions where you get the most out of the strength. So it's like, well, you have this force production capacity. It doesn't matter because you place your foot far in front of your center of mass. So all the force you're producing against the ground is like for no use, because it will you just place your foot in the complete wrong way, and it will just lead to you, well, almost decelerating, because you are performing it with such a poor mechanics. So I definitely think it's important. Do I think it's crucial to make it perfect? No, I don't. But it's definitely a part of my program and my athletes' program. And I gotta say that when I've watched track athletes in the past, I have been so impressed with the B skips and A skips and C skips that they have done, because it just looks like it's really like performed with such a great technique. And when I've tried to do them myself, I've been horrible at them, and it has looked embarrassing when I've done them, comparing it to the track athletes. So I've always been jealous on how smooth it looks, and I can just tell the difference. But in the past, I have learned how to actually perform these mechanic drills better. So I would say I'm perhaps not at the track athletes level when it comes to that, but I've improved a lot on them. And now is the first time since I'm performing it with the right form where I actually feel how they can transfer into actually performing with a better technique, like these mechanics drills, for instance. Before, I didn't even perform them with the right technique, so they weren't giving me that much. But yeah, I normally say that the only thing that can make you faster in a day is to fix your running form. And once again, there we have an opportunity as non-track athletes, of course, track athletes too, because in the early ages, they're perhaps not running with an optimal form. It takes time to develop that. But a lot of athletes, they have huge room for improvement when it comes to speed just by fixing their form. And just by allowing their current abilities to, really to get use of them. So yeah.
I have another question. So I keep getting these questions, and they're just too good.
Yeah.
Far away, man. Far away.
In football, like obviously you're not just running in a straight line. You're having to move in different directions.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you do for like lateral movement and like sort of, because obviously football players they can run sideways, they can run backwards, they can run forwards, they can run, with the ball, tackling someone? Like, how do you tackle that?
So I have I'm not going to say controversial, but perhaps like a bit like unpopular opinion about agility training and change of direction training for footballers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say it's overrated to do, because it is important given how much we are doing it in a game. But given the fact that I just mentioned that we are doing it so much in games and in trainings, I don't think we need to overdo it in our training outside the team trainings and games. I think we should focus on the basics of improving our speed, getting stronger, do our plyometrics, and then incorporate some drills like a lateral squat in the gym, like some kind of multi-directional plyometric like a skater jump, and do some kind of sprint change of direction drill. But more than that, I don't think we should do more than that, given how many reps we get of that in training. So I have a practice soon. In today's practice, I will change direction probably 50 times. Why would I change direction another 20 times on my own? And that argument shouldn't be placed outside its context, because then someone argue that you shouldn't do anything that you do in practice. But the thing why I want to do more strength training and max velocity training outside team training is because we don't do that much in during practice. So absolutely incorporate some things here and there, and I definitely have that in my program, but no reason to overdo it. Take on change of direction
That
training.
makes sense, to be fair. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because what's like your like when you do agility training, what do you normally do? Do you like react to something, or do you like put like a box and
Yeah, so there is a hugely underrated component of agility training a lot of people like forget, and I believe that's a part of the definition of agility training, that, as mentioned, that there's some kind of reactive element of the training. So I think that's, if you're going to do that, that can absolutely be valuable to add. So true agility training would incorporate some kind of reaction moment. So I have one drill. You can have many different drills, but I have one drill where I like to kind of illustrate a moment where I run back, I get a long ball in behind, and then I have a friend to drop a ball, and I need to react on what's supposed to portray that second ball, for example. So I think if you're going to have true agility training, it can be good to incorporate kind of actual in-game scenarios where you need to change direction, but as well as react. Because the reason we react, the reason we change direction on a football field is because we react to something. We see that we lose possession of the ball. We need to run on the right side. Well, we need to react to that. It becomes a second ball. We need to change direction, react to that. So it all starts with that reacting element of it. But I don't complicate it too much when it comes to my agility training. So mostly it's just some kind of half circle sprint that I do. That's kind of my go-to exercise.
Yeah, because I guess it's quite hard to get like some reactive like stimulus when you are training by yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've seen like a couple apps because I've been interested in like agility training to help some people run faster. And because my sister does rugby as well, and she wanted to do some agility training.
Yeah.
And I can see like I don't know if you use them, but like you can get like apps which like kind of it's like say you can set up two cones and it kind of like flashes what
Yeah.
color you got to go to. Do you use them? Do you find them helpful?
No, I think those are hugely overrated.
Really?
So I would never, I would not buy that. I wouldn't spend my money on something that could be easily replicated without any flashy lights to be. That's my take on it. So I wouldn't use that.
Okay, fair enough.
I would surely not use it in. I see people, and we talk about actual skill training that is complicating things too much. But it's obviously, it's popular. Social media, I mean, doing the fancier, the more views.
Yeah.
I'm not too big of a fan of that kind of fancy training. It's all come down to the actual fundamentals of improving the different aspects.
100%, 100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
But y'all, as track athletes, you don't do too much. It's perhaps like some karaoke mechanic drill you're doing as some kind of lateral, but other than that, nothing much, right?
We do it for
Not,
injury prevention.
Yeah,
Apart from that,
yeah,
no.
yeah, like, yeah, karaoke. Sometimes do like lateral, like side jumps. I might do like pogos going like sideways. Um, Sometimes I do like, do you know like the Bosch step up where you get like a weight and you kind of like twist it around?
No, I
mm,
haven't heard of that one.
So it's like,
no,
try and imagine it. So you have like a weight and you hold in it
yeah,
and you hold it on one side and then you
Oh,
twist
oh,
it and you step up and then you
okay,
go prime when you step up.
yeah,
Um, yeah, normally do that because it incorporates like the fascial sling.
yeah,
Um, yeah, fascial sling. So because when you're running, you've kind of like using like one side of your body and the other side. So because obviously you use opposite arm, opposite leg, and then when you're doing that, your body's like kind of twisting and turning because your hips are like kind of rotating to get that stride length. Because if they're just fixed like that, then you're not
mm,
able to get as much like distance out of your stride. So if you're able to have mobile hips and move them, you're able to get a bit more out your stride. So then to counteract that force, your body up here is twisting and turning. So I do that exercise to one, train that system, and also to make sure when I do run, I have stability
yeah.
when all that's going on. So yeah.
Makes sense. Makes
I think
sense.
I think it's important to work on, even as track athletes. I think it's very important to work on um, lateral movements, and the reason I say that is because um, although we're moving in a straight line, if you actually look into what muscles are being used, what when we're running, it's a lot of the time it's also the stabilizers
Yeah,
because for example, if we look at the glutes, right, you've got the gluteus maximus, which is the big one, and then on the side you've got the gluteus medius, and when you strike the ground, your gluteus medius is also firing quite strongly to stabilize your leg so that you can produce the force in the right direction. So if you have a weak gluteus medius and you don't train it, then you're going to be unstable when you run and you're not going to be able to be balanced. It's even more important for jumping because when you jump, you're jumping off one leg, so you have to be balanced.
Mm.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
No, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
And when you do the jumping, how do you like train that kind of like because obviously you could put in a lot of force through that leg. How do you
yeah.
train those like stability muscles?
Do a lot of unilateral stuff. So
Okay.
single leg squats, single leg RDLs in the gym, um, some single leg plyometrics. So single leg, pretty much doing things
Mm.
single leg unilaterally you'll be able to train your neuromuscular system, your coordination, your proprioception. We also do a lot of barefoot stuff as well. So like sometimes we take our shoes off. We do it more in the winter. Take our shoes off and do like a set of drills completely shoeless because that will activate the muscles in the feet and then you'll get more proprioception on the ground. Um, yeah, basically. So yeah, a lot of single leg stuff, proprioceptive work,
What's
and that.
proprioception?
Proprioception is like like kinesthesis.
No.
Okay, basically it's like your feeling. So like,
Okay.
yeah, like proprioception, just feeling. Like, so for example, let's say you're running, right? And you're running with your eyes closed. You're completely relying on proprioception,
Yeah.
the feeling of where the ground is, the feeling of where you think you are on the track. That's proprioception.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I always the you said you sometimes take off your shoes and do some exercises. I always perform almost all my exercise in the gym without shoes. I
Yeah.
think so. I do not like the feeling at all of having like running shoes or whatever shoes and do like plyometrics or strength exercises. Like it feels terrible with doing it with shoes. So I love to do it without them.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because it feels like more like unstable as well, especially
Yeah.
if you're like a squat or something. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
right. I don't think we have too long left, but if you have any more questions, I think we have some questions in the chat if you want to.
Do we?
Yeah.
But I can't see any. I literally cannot see anything.
Do you not see it at like at the bottom where it says like people are joining?
And then it said five viewers like the entire time.
Ah. Mine be going up and down. I can like click on it and like if you click on where people said it's joined at the bottom and scroll up, there's been some questions. But obviously we've been
Yeah.
um
I can't see any. I don't know
oh
what's wrong with
really?
me.
Alright.
As calm. You read it out. You read it out.
Alright, I'll read out a few. And then okay, let's have a look. Where's the first? So, the first question was, I remember he said it quite a lot. He said, "Is 11? There you go. Is 11.5 good in the 100 meters for someone who's 14 years old?"
That's solid. Pretty
Yeah, what?
solid.
That's under 15, isn't it? Yeah, I'll say that's good time.
It's not like phenomenal, but it's
Yeah.
like it's flipping rapid.
I think what? Yeah, that's 14. So that's first year under 15. Yeah, I think I was running like 11.8 then. I think.
I couldn't even
So.
run under 13 back then. I was still running 13 seconds.
Man, I gotta try my 100-meter time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what your 100-meter time would be.
I've actually no clue. I'm gonna try it, but I'll let you know if I'll head over to London and we can do one together.
100%.
Yeah. We should do like a YouTube video or something and just all race.
Yeah.
Bro, that would be
That'd be
jokes.
so sick. That was so sick.
Sure, bro.
Yeah.
All
Out on
back to Newham.
Oh yeah, we got to go to Newham.
Yeah, if you want to like do a race, definitely go to like Newham, or I think you can go on like just timing. And if you want to run like the fastest time you ever will, then that's the track to do it.
Stratford, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind for sure.
Have you been to London before?
Yep, been there. I only think I
Would
went
you?
once, and that's when I fell in love with the Gunners. So
The Gunners.
yeah, we went there to watch an Arsenal game.
Of course.
So when I was like 13. But it's time to head there soon again. Actually, it was a while ago. So yeah, might combine near future.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Have any of y'all been to Sweden?
No.
No, I'd love to go though.
Yeah.
I'm
I'd love to
hopefully
go.
gonna go to Finland this year. Hopefully,
Really? Why? Why
the
Finland?
European Under-20 Championships.
Ah, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I heard
Have any
the-
more? Because otherwise, my training is. I need to head to training very soon.
Yeah. There's one. Let me have a look. There's one more question. That's
Yep.
quite an easy one. Tell me how you can increase top speed.
Oh, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, like make sure to sprint consistently, as we talked about before. Like make sure to actually go out and do the sprints where you reach your top speed, but also increase your force production by both plyometrics and strength training. And my favorite main lifts are squats, trap bar deadlifts for strength training.
Yeah.
Metrics, in terms of like horizontal plyometrics, broad jumps, my go-tos, vertical plyometrics. Make sure to do like death jumps, box jumps, power skips. Yeah, that's my go-to tips.
I think you just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just like don't overcomplicate it. A lot of people overcomplicate it and do like all this like feet work and stuff. And like, bro, at the end of the day, if you run faster at top speed, you're gonna get faster. It's literally as simple as that. Especially if you haven't done it before. So
yeah,
yeah,
100%, 100%. I'm making these fascia. I don't know if you have come across some of these.
yeah.
Like I'm kind of making fun of them.
They're like
in
just doing this stuff will make you faster.
Stick with your toes, mate.
Oh, bro.
No, I've seen some crazy stuff, bro, on things that like how to get faster. Like it's crazy, and those are the most followers and views too. So it's like, but like real talk, like the reason why they get so many views and stuff is because people just trying to find the quickest way to get, like, if they find something that seems super easy for them to get faster, they will, that will catch your attention. But improving obviously takes efforts and time. So
yeah, 100%, 100%. Consistency and also resting as well. If you don't rest enough, then your body's not going to be able to adapt to the training you've been able to do, and also give yourself enough rest in between the reps.
100%.
So every rep's like max
Yeah.
quality.
100%. 100%.
Cool. I think that is everything. So yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
All right, boys. It was nice meeting both of you.
Yeah, it's nice
Yes,
meeting
it was
you.
nice meeting you too as well.
Yes.
What was your name? Sorry again.
So it's Ludwig.
Ludwig. Okay.
Yep.
Great. I'll give you a follow on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. I'll follow you back.
Yes.
So it's scientifically, yeah. This account I'm having the live on right now, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, if I ever head to UK in near future, I'll let y'all know. And
sure,
we'll do a race.
We'll do a race.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, bro.
All right.
So it's nice to meet you, Ludwig.
Yes, nice to meet you.
And yeah, hopefully we can, get something in the future and hop on again for sure.
Defo can do this again and talk about some more interesting stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Take care.
Yes.
No worries.
Enjoy training.
In a bit, bro.
Thank you.
In a bit.